This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and we are joined today by Elan Carr. He is a candidate for the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County, the 5th District, including significant portions of North Los Angeles County. Before we speak about some issues facing the county, I want to speak about you and your military history. You had joined the Army right before 9/11.
Yeah.
Little did you know we would face that terrorist attack, ultimately deployed to Iraq. Tell us about that, sir.
Well, when 9/11 happened, for those of us in uniform, we realized that defending our country wasn't theoretical anymore.
Right,
We were
right.
attacked, and we were at war. And Brad, I have to tell you, we're still at war. I mean, when you look at what just happened in San Bernardino, when you look at what happened in Paris, when you look at the LA school closures, 650,000 kids out of school because of a fear of a terrorist attack. This is a long war.
But let me ask
so,
you-
I spent time in Iraq. I was there for a year. I led an anti-terrorism team, and we had missions around the country. And then my second half of my time there, I prosecuted terrorists who had hurt U.S. soldiers.
You're a
And so
lawyer.
I am, and so I saw the war on terrorism from both sides, leading an anti-terrorism team to prevent attacks and then holding terrorists accountable for hurting us. And so let me tell you, I know how dangerous this problem is, and we have got to keep American families safe.
And let's talk about that, because should you be on the Board of Supervisors, you will be representing 2 million people in a county of 10 million. Very
Right.
significant position. And at a certain level, of course, we need to be vigilant. But how do we continue to live our lives without that paranoia? Because look, the terrorists are trying to evoke terror in us. And it would seem to me if they evoke terror in us, they're winning. The
Right.
chance of us being hurt by a terrorist attack are infinitesimal. But it's as if,
Yeah.
we feel like there's someone around the corner.
Well, it's scary, and that's why terrorism is such a powerful weapon. But what we have to do is take steps to keep our families safe. And that means not only vigilance, that means having a security infrastructure so that we can vet threats to know whether it's a hoax or not, to protect our facilities and our high-value targets from terrorist attacks.
So it's interesting, the county is such a significant arm of our government.
Yeah.
But what can the county do in
Well,
that vein?
yeah.
How can we use, should you be elected, your expertise to make LA County more safe?
Let me tell you, that's why I'm running, because the most important job a government has at any level is to keep people safe. And we need to get that done for the sake of our quality of life in LA County. Crime is up 30%, and we have this looming terrorist threat. What we need to do is have a security infrastructure that can vet threats, that can gather intelligence before an attack and prevent attacks from happening.
But would you be able to use your expertise sitting in the Board of Supervisors?
Well, there's no question. There's no question. I mean, look, I saw Middle Eastern terrorism up close and personal. And I saw how dangerous these people are. And I also saw the tactics they use to hurt other people and to kill other people. And then for the last 10 years, I've been prosecuting gang members who also threaten our safety. And so, yes, as supervisor, I'm going to be focused on keeping American families safe, because if you don't have safety, Brad, then there is no quality of life. That's the most important thing, and we've got to be safe and protected.
Let's talk about your current position. You're a
Yeah.
deputy district attorney in Los Angeles County. You mentioned crime is up, and I want to dig deep into that issue, because it is true, crime is up.
Right.
But the question is, why is crime up? Crime's up across the nation, but there are some
More
folks,
so here.
But there are some folks that believe that crime is up because of certain prison reforms we have in place. As you know, the state passed AB 109, which sends lower level offenders to county facilities. Then the voters passed Prop 47 last year, which reclassified certain crimes from felonies to misdemeanors. And so give us a sense about that kind of perfect storm.
It is a perfect storm, and I would say there are three things that are causing the crime rate to go up, and it is dramatically up. I can tell you, I do this every day. Epidemic of gang attacks and shootings and home burglars, epidemic, and we've got to stop this. We've got to stop it. It's three things. One, are policies that undermine public safety. AB 109 realigned the prison system so that I prosecute felons. I can't send felons to state prison. Their prison sentences are served locally. Unless it's a certain kind of felony, it has to be served locally.
But your point's well taken, but the question becomes,
Yeah.
we had a U.S. Supreme Court case that told us you need to decrease your prison population, your state prison population. The governor was in a bind. And
Well-
so as we have this this push-pull of wanting to be tough on crime but not having enough prison beds. What's the answer?
Well, that's just it. You hit the nail on the head. You want to decrease your prison population? You bring the crime rate down. That's the way to decrease your prison population. You don't take prisoners and empty your prisons into local counties. And of course the crime rate's going up. And then Prop 47, which you mentioned.
Why, of course? That's really the question.
I'll tell you why. Because, first of all, felons aren't going to state prison. They're going to county jails. And for a long time there was early release. They were released early.
But
Second of all...
But let me ask you about going to county jails, because the hope, the dream, the goal had been if these lower level felons, because that's what it's supposed to be, not gangbangers who are murdering. I mean, they're still going to prison, hopefully. But be that as it may, these lower level offenders, they're serving time in county jail. The hope is that county jails are closer to home, they have more family support, there are more rehab programs. LA County is known for trying to put in place effective rehab, anti-recidivism programs, job training programs. What happened?
We don't have a good anti-recidivism program. In fact, recidivism is very high. A lot of these offenders who now are no longer supervised by the Department of Corrections under AB 109, but locally in the county where they committed those crimes in the first place, are recidivating within months of their release. And it's right here increasing the crime rate.
Is that a county faux pas or a state faux pas?
Well, it's both, because what needs to happen is, in light of AB 109, our county needs to do what AB 109 forces the counties to do, and that is take primary responsibility for protecting people and housing inmates. And so we've got to do that, and we've got to keep people safe.
Let me ask you about Prop 47. I think that's a very interesting development in our state. Prop 47, of course, took certain classes of felonies and took them away from the wobbler status and made them misdemeanors. A lot of drug possession crimes. Our country's going through this interesting dynamic where they're looking at prison, they're looking at drug offenses, personal possession offenses, not wanting to throw away the key for those that have drug problems. What's your sense of how Prop 47 has, in practice, played out?
Right. Well, the name of the game is recidivism, right? How do you prevent that? You mentioned recidivism and how important that is. Well, let me tell you what Prop 47 does. A burglary now, a commercial burglary, on the first time is a misdemeanor, on the 10th time, the 20th time, still a misdemeanor.
If it's below 950.
Exactly. Right. And so there's no allotment for recidivism. And so people can recidivate and still have no real penalty. But Brad, on drug crimes, you said the county needs to help people get better. How do you help people get better when you can't force them into drug programs?
And that's my question. Look, there's a frustration level when we think about the prisons, the jails being filled up with those that possessed marijuana for personal use. Where do we go? I mean, we can't go back and undo Prop 47 without going to the voters. That's what we're presented with right now. So what's the answer?
Let me tell you, it's a myth about marijuana for personal use. But we haven't put people in jail for a long time for that.
But what's the result?
But how about meth and crack? Those are all misdemeanors now. And this is crazy
But again, that's the issue. I'm not disagreeing with you necessarily. But what I'm saying is that's the law.
Right. So what's the solution? So what we need to be doing is we need to have more police officers. We need to be enforcing the laws. We need to have more jail beds so that when people go into custody, they're going to serve time and not be released early.
And Men's Central Jail presumably is being revamped, and you'll be part of that.
It needs to be revamped, and it needs to be revamped with a facility with sufficient that can house a larger population. That's critical.
His name is Elan Carr. I hope he'll be back on our program.
Thank you.
He is a candidate for the Board of Supervisors in Los Angeles County, the 5th District. My name is Brad Pomerance. Thank you for joining us on Charter Local Edition.